from Seminole, Florida, Prime proudly presents the 10th of 22 Open Division qualifiers of the Brunswick World Team Challenge. Welcome to the Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Clearwater area and the Seminole Lanes Baker System Bowling World Team Challenge. Hello again, everybody. Jay Randolph, and alongside Hall of Famer Earl Anthony. Earl, record-breaking week here. 112 teams came to play. We're down to 3.
We're down to 3 of the best, and it's been exciting, Jay. It's unbelievable. A field of 112 teams, figure that out, just add it up, Jay. It's 560 bowlers showed up in this area to compete in one of the greatest tournaments available, the World Team Challenge. And we ended up with 3 outstanding teams, I mentioned. The team that qualified 7th in the regular field had to shoot 11-18 just to get into the match play. That's the Wilson's Pro Shop team. They're up against an outstanding team with momentum going for them, the Greg Sports Cards team, and the winner of that match really has her hands full because Brunswick, our tournament leader, ran away from the field, dominated it. It's really a question of whether Brunswick can get it back together for one more match to win the tournament.
Well, it's obvious you're on a roll today. Let's see how they're rolling. We'll be back with the opening match here at Seminole Lanes right after these messages.
Natural look. So I didn't take any chances. I used the sure thing for a natural look called Just for Men.
Apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, rinse. It's specially timed to blend away gray, bring back your natural look, and condition hair.
It's a sure thing.
Just for Men, the sure thing for a natural look. And now try Just for Men Color Gel for the hard-to-color hair of mustaches and beards. Brush in, rinse out. Just 5 minutes.
The Brunswick World Team Bowling Challenge is brought to you by the American Bowling Congress and the Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies. By Lynn Shoes. For the performance approach, it's American-made Lynn Shoes, the choice of bowlers worldwide. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too. And by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. Ron Cloud for Wilson Pro Shop 2 and Chuck Atwood for Greg Sports Cards, the 2 leadoff man. And this is Ron Cloud, 60 years young. He's a welder for Florida Power. 3-time Tampa individual match play champion. Leads it off.
Well, a little opening nerves there, Jay. That one got off his hand real early. He got to the foul line and just kind of lost it. But you'll watch Ron. He's a very good spare shooter. He's going clear to the back room here to get another bowling ball.
Thought he was leaving for.
Well, you know, maybe he had to go back and check his pacemaker. Who knows? You know.
Oh, now.
That's nice to have someone here almost my age, at least. Cross lane at the spare, the 610. Shouldn't be too much trouble for Ronnie, as I mentioned, a very good spare shooter.
And you look now at Chuck Atwood. He's 48 years of age. He's an attorney in the Miami area, a member of the Florida and Miami Bowling Halls of Fame. Leading off for Greg Sports Cards.
Greg Sports Cards. His son owns Greg Sports Cards, so he's their sponsor. Get your son to sponsor your team and you're in pretty good shape.
And that 10 looked like it was going to go, but it didn't.
No, just the baby split, the 310, and he'll go cross lane at this, try to fit it between the 2 pins. Opening jitters for both teams, and once they get past those first 5 frames or so and everybody gets one shot out there, they'll be all right. All right, he'll stand to the left, use as much of the lane as possible, try to fit the ball to the right-hand side of the 3 pin, let it deflect into the 10. Whoops, that's trouble.
Yes, indeed, it is trouble. Starting lineup brought to you by Contour Power Grips, pioneers in the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips, and you should too. Brian Fitzmaurice. And the strike for Fitzmaurice, who works in a pro shop, Crown Lanes. And here is the Contour Power Grip starting lineup again. Pioneers in the finger grip industry, of course. Mike Myers.
A lot of heavy forward roll in this shot. You won't see a lot of side rotation, and he just tries to roll it up around the second arrow, keep it in play. This whole team, good spare shooters, don't cross a lot of boards. They got one player that really hooks it a lot, but the rest of the team's pretty much up and at him. Here you get a look at it right around the 11th board there, just inside the second arrow. Doesn't quite get the finish he might want out of it. Got a break though, easy spare here, only the 2-pin.
Mike is an information systems manager with Sunbelt Beverage in the Miami area. And a look here at Dale Colasar Jr. He's a salesman for Anderson News. He can put his team up by 21 early with a strike.
He uses the whole lane here, Jay. This young man lays it down almost in the left-hand channel, crosses it out to about the 10 board and brings it back, and here he just got it on the lane too early, and this is what happens. You get it on the lane early, it's going to hook early, and if it hooks early, you generally get this kind of a mess. This is the 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. I mean, you know, look at this mess. He's trying to get it on the right-hand side, much the way you would make the baby split. Fit it between the 3 and the 6, let the 3 go over and take out the 4 and the 7, like this. Oh, almost, huh?
This is Jairo Hernandez, a 27-year-old warehouse employee, works for a flour importer, First Paragon Company. Oh, trouble.
Well, his teammates got up there and they all set it kind of short and didn't get much on it because they were a little nervous, and Jairo got up there and couldn't get his thumb out of it. So he had the opposite result, and as far as not being able to let go of the ball, but it still went high with the 4-6. Opening jitters, and that affects most everybody. Even the pros have those.
The winner of this match will meet our #1 qualifier, Brunswick, in the championship match. 2-game match here. Wilson up by 9.
Scores were pretty good overall this week, Jay, during the qualifying rounds, especially good. Brunswick, as you mentioned, the leader, they just dominated in the qualifying rounds.
Yes, they did. This is Don Yoshihara, youngest member of the team at age 20. Got them all.
Pretty fancy footwork there,
Yeah,
huh?
kicked him right down.
Watch him at the foul line here, folks. He loses it all. Actually, I'm not sure if he didn't foul. The foul light did not go on, but it looked like it was close. And right on the edge.
This is Paul Dalba. Came up a little short. Paul is a telecommunications supervisor at the University of Miami, Coral Gables area.
Well, Paul, a very fundamental type player, and all he's trying to do is to make this. Watch this arm swing. He has good arm swing, nice free. See how straight his arm is from the shoulder, real free swing. Good timing, good balance. Just doesn't get any reaction out of the ball. He just kind of aimed it, and now he has a tough spare. The 1, 2, 4, 10, left side of the head pin with the ball. Got a chance.
Oh,
that's just bad luck.
Yeah,
Jay.
bad luck. It looked like he had the shot to get the job done.
Here's another look at it. Watch the head pin go up and around the 10, and really, he's maybe 1/8 of an inch from perfection there.
Wilson's Pro Shop leading by 19. It would be 29 with a strike. Tom Roughton.
Tom is the captain for this team. He's the guy that kind of put things together. It's a lot on the bowling ball.
And they all go down for Roughton.
Big strike there. Got a double. Increased the lead a little bit. Watch the 4 pin. See the head pin go to the wall, kick out the 4. Good pin action there. Great shot by the cameraman, huh?
The anchor man for Greg Sports Cards, Orlando DeArmas, an aircraft machinist with Greenwich Air Service in the Miami area.
And Orlando doesn't use his thumb in the ball, just his fingers, so it's a little different.
We'll return with more of the Brunswick World Team Challenge right after Cloud ready to go to work for Wilson Pro Shop #2.
Second time through now for each of these players. They should do a little better, a little more relaxed. Here, Ron got it down early, got it rolling, but it just never got to the pocket.
Reminder again, it's a 2-game match. A 1-2-4-8 lead here.
2 games total pins, and very quickly the format, we had 112 teams show up here to bowl 6 qualifying games on Saturday morning and evening. The top 10 based on total pinfall went into the match play portion. They bowled 10 2-game Baker system matches, and the top 3 teams with their bonus pins and carryover pins you see tonight.
Chuck Atwood, a league average of 227. Pretty strong.
Pretty strong. Neither team really seeming able to get it going yet, Jay. And Greg's sports cards got to get it going early here, I think, because Wilson's been a hot team coming up into the match play.
Well, a strike there would have cut the lead to 3. Nearly $40,000 in the prize fund for this event here in Seminole, Florida. 112 teams from 11 states. New record as far as attendance. Popularity of the World Team Challenge and the Baker system continuing to grow. Wilson's up by 13.
You know, other than maybe some local television shows, most of these guys probably have never bowled on a national television show before, Jay, so some of that could be some of the nerves that we're seeing out there.
Here's Brian Fitzmaurice.
Brian doesn't leave anything in the bag. He gets it all.
Yes, sir, and he got them all. He's a power performer.
Yes, he is. There you go. He's got a little motor on the side of this ball. Watch it going down the lane. Look at the rotation. Tremendous rotation. There it gets friction right there and starts to make the left turn. Goes into the roll. 10 in the pit. Watch just the opposite now. Look at the roll on this ball. Just up and at him. Nice and easy, end over end.
Mike Myers with that old smoothie approach.
Right. There's a lot of ways to get the job done. Just whichever is, you know, you can almost determine a person's personality by the way they roll a bowling ball, Jay. Do you buy that?
I do, yeah. This
Okay.
fella is nice and easy.
Yeah, I imagine he's a very relaxed type personality.
He is.
And,
I was talking to him earlier.
Brian's over there. He probably is a little hyper, a Class A personality, gets it all done, very aggressive type. So he attacks the pins, and he just tries to finesse them down.
High game, track from Sunrise, 1144. AMF Davie, Florida, 1142, and Contour Power Grips. High game, a 300 for Ben Hugel.
And if he'd had Lynn's bowling shoes on, he'd have got a bonus of $1,000. Unfortunately, he didn't wear those. And, that ought to make everybody a little more aware to wear their Lynn's when they're out here. Huh?
Yes, sir. Dale Colasar. You know, did I hear the story correctly? He had a pair of Lynn shoes in his bowling bag.
Right. But he just, for some reason, wore another brand.
Oh, boy. He'll rue the day.
Yes, he will. All right, only the 2-pin, easy spare. Could have been a lot worse. One of the last pins to fall was the 10. So some of these guys throw more ball at the spares than I ever got on my strike ball, Jay.
749 series for Danny Saunders from Miami.
We all know Roger Bowker, huh?
Yeah, and Craig Auerbach, 223.8. Top qualifying average.
Don Sylvia, former professional from Vancouver. And a lot of very, very talented players here this week. People like Ernie Schlegel.
And
look
look here.
That'll scare you, huh?
Earl Anthony has been named the greatest bowler of all time, best ever, by the ABC membership that was polled. And congratulations to you, my friend. That's a nice, nice honor.
Well, it's amazing. I was probably more shocked than anybody.
Well,
thank you.
Well deserved. And here is Jairo Hernandez making a mistake.
Well, that's
shaking
two opens.
his head. Yeah, he's had a tough go up to now.
Last time up 4-6. This time he chops the 4 off the 7. So he's just hoping that it's not going to hurt his team so much if they can't get by this match. Both teams struggling.
Yeah, Wilson's up by 27. And now for Wilson.
He's talking to himself a little bit there.
Don Yoshihara.
Remember, you can only help your team twice each game in the Baker system, and when you don't, when you get a couple opens, it really, really can destroy you for that remainder of that match.
Mr. Yoshihara is glad this 10-pin
Well, it's almost
Finally
always going to be the head pin, Jay. You see it coming across. It hit the left wall, came all the way back off the kickback, and did the job. Hang on.
Had a little trouble there at the approach. Paul Dalba.
Paul and his team, as I mentioned, most of them are straight players. By that I mean they go down the boards, down and in. And right now, of course, on the World Team Challenge, there's a great shot. In the World Team Challenge, we put out a pretty competitive lane condition. And I think you'll find that if you were to talk to the players that have bowled over the years in the World Team Challenge, they're very happy with that. They feel it's not only competitive, but fair for everybody, and whoever makes the best shots has a chance to win it. But there's almost always an out of bounds. And my point is that this team is playing on the edge of that out of bounds. If you get the ball outside that second arrow, there's an area there where the ball might sail, won't hook back. So you got to be careful.
Nice to see Darrell Dobbs here today, the executive director of the American Bowling Congress.
Looks so serious.
He does look serious.
I wonder if he's got a bet on this. What do you think? No, Darrell wouldn't do that.
No, indeed.
No.
But certainly under his leadership, the ABC has made remarkable strides.
Well, he's been fortunate.
Yep.
You know, Darrell's done a wonderful job, but he's also had some good people. People like Eddie Bauer, huh?
Our own Ed Bauer produces the Brunswick World Team Challenge and comes up with some very innovative ideas.
Hard worker. Well, we've got us a match. Regardless of the final score of this opening game, it's a two-gamer. Anything
Wilson's
can
going to
happen.
lead here.
So many times it does when they change lanes.
And we're out and ready. A lot of lift and loft there. That ball's airborne for a while, isn't it?
Tremendous upper body strength here. This is a big guy. This guy looks like he could be playing linebacker for the Bears or something. Here's a look at his style. Watch how he uses that upper strength. Very little use of his legs for leverage. He just creates it with that big chest, big arms. That's a bonus if you can do that, Jay. The more you can take out of the game, in other words, of your physical body, the less you can use, the better off you are, because fewer things can go wrong.
177. Wilson's Pro Shop 2. Orlando DeArmas.
Now, right now, he's just thinking, let's get out of this one with a mark. Just let me get a mark in the 10th so we don't have a really awful, awful game. And stay close. 20, 30 pins aren't that bad.
They're going to have the lead by at least 16.
There you go. No thumb. Watch a hook. Now, there's a bad break, folks. We're going to get another shot of that, I'm sure, because our camera people are the best there is. And watch what happens here to the pin action. Here you see him release the ball. Tremendous rotation. Gets it out to about the 5 board there. Watch it come back. Watch the 5 pin. It goes behind. The head pin goes in front of the 4. The 5 pin goes. Here's a great shot. Watch the 5 pin. The middle of the thing. Go over and take out the 7. But because of the extreme angle that ball came in, nothing touched the 4 pin. Now that's very unique, unusual, bad luck is what it really is, I guess.
This gentleman has bowled 300 games, both right and left-handed.
Okay, now here you see him put his hand on the ball. He starts to put his thumb in, puts his fingers in first like you should, lays his thumb in the thumb hole, takes it back out and lays it on the side of the ball there. And this takes a lot of strength. I wouldn't recommend you try this unless you have time to practice maybe 400 or 500 games.
Gets the strike and a score of 150. We'll return in a moment. Here's Chuck Atwood to start off our second game.
Remember I mentioned that his son is the sponsor. He owns Greg Sports Cards, Greg Atwood, of course. And I said, well, did he pay the entry fees and everything? He said, no, he's bought the shirts.
Well, that's something, I suppose. Huh?
Darn right. Well, it's a good-looking shirt.
It is.
Only the 4 pin. So we start the second game of a 2-game total pin match. Remember, the players have switched lanes now. The teams have switched lanes. So Many times, not by intention, it just happens. One lane is a little easier to score on than the other, and we'll see if maybe the fortunes reverse here for Gregg Sports Cards, and they come back and make a match out of this.
Ron Cloud.
Ron's my hero. 60 years old, still out there playing with these kids. I mean, you got to admire a guy like this, right?
Yes, sir. A member of the Tampa Bowling Association Hall of Fame. His team, Wilson's Pro Shop, 6-4 in match play.
Hello. Wait a minute here. Wait a minute here. Oh, well.
No.
Pretty good job. Here's a good look at the form of Ron from the side. Great camera angle. Nice. He used a lot of muscle in his legs to create the ball speed and the strength he needs to get it down the lane. Doesn't do a lot to the ball, but he does get it rolling. And he's very accurate, extremely accurate, very subtle, will miss a spare. And if he can keep it in the pocket area, especially with today's bowling balls, he's going to be hard to beat.
There are a lot of good bowlers in this part of the world who I guess you could call senior citizens. And this fella is very talented.
Well, he sure demands a lot of respect from all the players in this area of the country. I can guarantee that.
Mike Myers.
A little more ball speed there from Mike. Looked like he put a little more on that one, too, and got the 5 into the 7 for the strike. A little adjustment there for Mike. I like that. Watch what he does here. Right at the end of the swing, watch his hand come up immediately. You see how he hit on that ball? Well, when he lifts up straight up like that, you get good rotation. You don't want to lift to the side either way, but if you can lift straight up and through with your elbow pointing to the floor, you get the good rotation.
Brian Fitzmaurice. He is 2 for 2 in the strike department. String broken there.
Only the 3-6-10, but this is a tough spare. And he's looking for something to use to shoot it. Going over here, get a different ball. He'll get a ball that won't hook much. He'll open his wrist or relax it and try not to get a lot of side rotation, just end over end. Throw it right at it. Throw it hard and straight. Try to fit it between the 3 and the 6. There you go. And he chopped it. My. Not a lot of enthusiasm right now. Both teams struggling.
Yes, they are. Wilson's Pro Shop up by 13.
Here's the lefty, and he has yet to get a mark, Jay.
Yeah, he's really struggled. Jairo Hernandez. His team, Gregg Sports Cards, 7-3 in match play.
And I'll tell you, this is no bargain here either. The 2 and the 4, and for a left-hander, a very tough spare. A lot of ways to miss this. He wants to fit it between the 2 pins, obviously. Be careful. Ooh, I thought he chopped it for a minute. Oh boy. He was relieved.
Yeah.
Finally got marked. Get it started.
Dale Colasar.
Brunswick team's over here off to the side practicing, warming up for the championship match, and they're all kind of licking their chops over here looking at these scores. I think they can handle this.
Colasar straight on the head pin.
Experience. There's nothing you can do except bowl to gain the experience that's necessary to make good shots under pressure. And television always creates pressure. And if you've never played in front of a national television audience before, it's going to affect how you play.
We'll return with more of the Brunswick World Team Challenge. Right at strike, and Don Yoshihara left the 10 pin, got the spare. Now here is Orlando DeArmas.
Well, there's that out of bounds.
The reaction he wanted. Yeah, the out of bounds you talked about earlier.
It's not going to come back. You get the ball out there, and it doesn't matter how well you rotate it. It's just going to catch that oil, that little slick area out there that nobody's using. See, that ball almost went to the channel. Came back, but not nearly enough to get to the pocket. The problem is, once it gets out there, it's too far down the lane because it doesn't get any friction. It continues to skid and never gets back.
Trying to pick up the 1-2-8.
Not very often will you see a guy throw a spare ball without using a thumb, but he did, and he covered it.
Good job by DeArmas to pick up that spare.
If you're wondering why a guy will not put his thumb in the ball, it's because you can get tremendous rotation without your thumb in it. You carry it on the palm and wrist, and your thumb not being in there, there's no friction for a release point for your thumb, so your fingers can rotate the ball. Take a football if you're at home, if you got a football or something like that around, and just think about it as an underhand lateral, and that's what you're doing. You're just rotating up the side of the ball, and it's so much easier to do without your thumb. But it takes a lot of strength.
Yeah, it really does take tremendous strength. Roughton thought he had a strike, and he didn't get it.
Well, he's been pretty steady for this team. He's kept the ball in the pocket area. He's kind of hoping they'll just get it down to the 10th frame where he's got a chance to do something. And so many of our matches do come down to the 10th frame where the anchormen are the key. They're the players that have to perform when the match is on the line.
You see there he's a systems manager. He works with all the computers at the Thompson Cigar Company over in Tampa. Back to Chuck Atwood. The lead is 1.
I still like his game. I like the simple way of playing the game. I like it when a guy can get to the line the same way every time. He has good balance at the foul line. Doesn't try to do an awful lot to the ball, but still gets enough on it to carry all 10 pins. And that's really what the game's all about. Keep it in play. Don't get yourself in where you're overworking it and getting too much trouble. See, here's a pretty basic game. Just roll it down the lane. Not quite enough of the head pin to get the wall, kick off the wall, but he's got a tough spare. The 3 and the 2 and the 5. Be interesting to see how he plays this. Most guys would play it down the left-hander side of the lane and try to cut down on the angle. He's playing it, looks like, a little bit from the right, maybe just off his strike angle. Here's a good view of it. And looks like he's going to line up around the 2nd arrow there, maybe even the 3rd arrow. Right over the 2nd arrow. It's got to hurry. Good cover. A little more difficult that way, and but he made it work.
Here is Ron Cloud.
Ron's having trouble getting the ball to go into a roll, and I think he might be just overthrowing it ball speed wise. Slow it down a little bit, he might get it to finish for him. There he did. He did slow it down. Rolled it up there, almost got there, only the 2 pin.
The winner of this first match will go against Brunswick for the championship and the trip to the Grand Championship in Louisiana in August. Be at Don Carter's Lanes in Kenner, Louisiana, and then move into the Pontchartrain Center in an arena atmosphere for the finals. And we'll be back here at Seminole Lanes.
9100.
Greg Sports Cards has made a big move. Myers and Hernandez with strikes. Fitzmaurice was open. Colasar picked up the spare. And a very big strike right there.
Well, all they need to win this thing now is a mark in the 10th frame, and it's over no matter what Wilson's does. Here's another look at that, and watch the pin action. Head pin goes to the wall, kicks the 6 pin forward into the 2. You got to like that.
Don Yoshihara. And he followed Dalba's strike. Brooklyn.
Well, anything works at a time like this. You're not going to be proud. Just give me whatever I can get.
Greg Sports Cards with Orlando DeArmas, their anchor man.
He needs a mark, any kind of a mark, and they're a winner. Boy, you got all of that one.
That takes care of the problem.
You got all
over now. So Greg Sports Cards qualified 2nd. We'll be moving forward to play Brunswick in our championship match. A 2-game match for all the marbles and the all-expense trip to Louisiana in August for the Grand Championship. He's got it going right now.
He's definitely got it going right now. Yeah, he's the only guy that's been able to give it that much room and get it back. And
you really have to have a tremendous rotation on the ball to create that kind of friction out there, because, like I say, he's in the out-of-bounds area and still getting it back. Here's another look at it. Watch how close this gets to the channel. And this one he didn't hook it quite as much as did the others, but he got it out to about the 6th board there at about 45 feet. There's a great look at it, how he holds the ball. I wonder how much that ball weighs. I'm real curious about that.
Lane's playing a little different.
I don't see any difference.
It'd be interesting to see how the Brunswick team handles it. The victory here for Greg Sports Cars in our opening match. 237. Roughton finishing it up. And we have Around the Bowling World, our new segment coming up for you. And then, of course, the championship match will be Greg Sports Cars against Brunswick of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Now it's time to go around the bowling world. Brought to you by the High Roller Tournaments at the Showboat Hotel in Las Vegas. Bowling continues to make strides into the global arena through the FIQ. Jerry Koenig, president of the Fédération Internationale des Quiers, bowling's world governing body, appointed new members with a world of experience to his staff. Abdullah Karim Al Raiz of the United Arab Emirates is the new FIQ Secretary General. Hazel McCleary of Canada was appointed Deputy Secretary General. Ho Kim of South Korea is the new Executive Director, and Steve James of Fox Point, Wisconsin, has been named FIQ's Communications Director. This year, FIQ's main office will relocate to Colorado Springs, Colorado, and continue its international duties with preparation for involvement in the World Amateur Championships before the Olympic Games begin this July in Atlanta. Qualifying has begun for the 1996 Coca-Cola Youth Bowling Championships. The tournament is open to YABA members aged 12 to 21. Members compete for scholarships and the opportunity to advance to the international finals to be held at the Columbus Square Bowling Palace in Columbus, Ohio, July 10 through the 14th. High scores in league-level competition advance to either center, sectional, or state qualifying competitions. For more information, contact your local YABA leaders. All roads lead to Reno in June for the opportunity to compete in the 6th WIBC ABC Mixed Championships. Combine a family trip or a vacation with the chance to pursue a national title and a winner's share of the purse. The annual classified event will take place at the National Bowling Stadium from June 7th to June 17th and continuing from June 21st to the 24th. The entry deadline is April 29th, 1996. For entry information on this exciting national competition, please call 800-211-1358. Texan Cliff Park topped a record field of over 400 players in winning the High Roller Senior Thanksgiving Classic at Showboat Lanes in Las Vegas. Park pocketed $30,000 in the richest senior event in history. Park, competing in his first high roller event, defeated Art Goddard from Temple City, California for the title. The record-setting event offered a total purse of over $400,000. The Showboat in Las Vegas is expecting to attract a record field for this year's Super Bowl High Roller. Over 1,500 bowlers are expected to compete for a projected $1 million prize fund. The 7th Super Bowl High Roller will take place during Super Bowl week, January 26th to February 1st, 1996. Around the Bowling World has been brought to you by the High Roller Tournaments. Call 800-257-6179 for information on how to enter.
Greg Sports Cars down by 27 after the first game, win by 50 pins. Greg Sports Cars goes up against Brunswick. Our championship match coming up in a moment. The Brunswick World Team Challenge is brought to you in part by the Treasure Chest Casino, proud host of the 1996 Grand Championships at Don Carter Lanes in Kenner, Louisiana. And we go to our final match. Chuck Atwood and Jeff Paholski, the leadoff men. Our first look at Paholski for Brunswick. He's a financial analyst, 35 years old, for L.B. Foster and Company. And a strike for the man from Elwood City, Pennsylvania. Chuck Atwood.
You know, that 237 game by Greg Sports Cards to win the last match, Jay, that final game, that was their highest game of the entire tournament under the Baker system. So maybe they're getting something going now. This could be a one great match because we know how tough this Brunswick team is.
Well, a wonderful comeback for Greg Sports Cards.
I just got a feeling that Brunswick's going to shoot some numbers at them, so they're going to have to get it going early and get it going strong to stay with this team. A very talented team, two extremely good left-handers on the Brunswick team, some very good clutch players, and people like Jeff Paholski, as you already mentioned, the winner of the Super Hoinky tournament. 5 guys can really play.
All right. The lineup for Brunswick, presented by Contour Power Grips, pioneers in the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips, and you should too. Well, you've seen Mr. Paholski. Now watch this. Robert Alexander.
Yeah, don't try to copy this one. You'll be at the chiropractors for a long time. I'll tell you what.
Boy, oh boy.
This is the epitome of tremendous rotation and a lot of strength. Look at the ball speed. Look at that rotation. Unbelievable rotation.
A whirling dervish.
He gets all he can in every shot.
He really does.
Boy. I wonder if he can do that when he's 60 years old.
I hope so. Here's a strike for Mike Myers. 2 different styles. Same result.
Yeah, it looks like a different game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For some reason. Here's another kid that is real tough. Another good rotation here, Jay.
This is Mike Chontos. He's 29 years old, a forklift operator for TYK Refractory. Oh, man.
Hey, wouldn't it be something?
Don't forget that we've got the $25,000 perfect game challenge.
Wouldn't it be something if you start with a spare in this opening game and you're already beat? Well, they need Jairo here to do something in this game.
2-game match, remember, for the championship. Jairo Hernandez. And he leaves the 2-4-7.
Well, he's had his problems. He started the first game of the opening match with 2 opens, a 4-6, and then he missed a spare, and then he finally did get it going. He got a spare, then a strike to finish it out in there when they needed him the most in the 237 game. And still having problems.
Yes, indeed. We'll return to the greater Tampa Bay area and the Brunswick World Team Challenge. Brunswick up by 32 over Greg Sports Cards here in the early going.
Only in 3 frames, Jay. That's amazing.
Right. Robert Kosert. Robert, an electrical sales man for the Condor Associates. And a strike for him, and on it goes.
Kind of interesting. They have 2 left-handers on their team, and they're bowling in the 4th and 5th position, so they must feel that they're the guys that can get the strikes when they need them. And of course, their leadoff man, as I already mentioned, Jeff Paholski, is as tough as they get in the clutch.
This is Paul Dalba. Got the Baker strike. As it was over on the Brooklyn side. Very interesting shot making going on here. And now Parker Bohn III.
That's one way to put it, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, this is a classic style here. This guy has got as good a game as you're going to see in the industry. Great arm swing, great footwork. Watch the balance at the foul line. Just everything is right. Look at that.
Oh, 7 is standing.
Well, there goes another, what, 50,000, 25,000? What is it, Jay?
25,000, our perfect game challenge. It'll go to $100,000 at the Grand Championship.
Look at that. He had pins dancing all over the place there, but nothing could reach the 7th pin. Parker, an 11-time PBA champion on the national tour. And you don't miss many spares if you're going to win on the tour.
Living these days in Jackson, New Jersey.
Parker Bohn III, and there's a Parker Bohn IV. How about that?
Yes, sir. Keep the string going, huh?
There you go.
Orlando DeArmas now, the anchor for Gregg Sports Cards.
Well, they had to breathe kind of a sigh of relief just to see them stop stringing strikes. There it is.
Down goes the 10.
They got the Jersey Squasher. Watch this. This is the Jersey Squasher. Crosses over high, push him back on the head pin on the Brooklyn side, and he got a little love tap on the 10 pin. These Brunswick pins aren't that easy to knock down, but he got just enough of it. Look at it laying on it there. Boom.
31 pin lead for Brunswick.
Well,
Holski
cut that one way wide of his target. Didn't have a chance. He knew it when he let go of it. 1, 2, 4, 8.
Qualifying averages.
Look at the domination there, Jay. by
Baker
Brunswick.
2099, yeah, and 2086 in the regular. 7 and 3 in match play for Brunswick and Gregg Sports Cards. 6 and 4 for Wilson's. Brunswick, as we said, dominated all the way.
This Brunswick team bowled earlier, and there's 4 of these guys that bowled together in Pittsburgh, and they just missed making the show. They finished 4th, and they picked up Parker Bohn, and maybe he was the catalyst that got them this far. Now they're leading. They're running away with it, basically. Good cover on a tough spare there. Chuck Atwood.
They've seemed to improve, you know, in every performance.
That's right. And you know, as I mentioned earlier, this team coming off a great finishing game in their opening match of 237 after being 27 pins down, won it by 50. So they feel the momentum. It's just whether or not they can keep it and not let Brunswick just run away. If the Brunswick runs away from them and gets a tremendous lead, they're not going to catch it. It's not going to turn around for them like it did in the opening match.
Chuck Atwood leaving the 2-4-5.
We're in your home country around here, Jay, Florida.
Yeah.
You're a Florida Marlin.
Well,
You do all the talking for
that's
them.
right. Moved down here about 3.5 years ago to the western area of Fort Lauderdale. We spent some time in these parts, of course. A lot of friends up here. Good to be here. We'll have more of the Brunswick World Team Challenge from Seminole Lanes. Right, Alexander and Myers, both open. Santos. Brunswick.
These guys are amazing. Mike gets, he doesn't leave anything in the bag either. He gets his money's worth every throw. These guys wear out a bowling ball so fast it's unbelievable, just because they get so much on it, so much ball speed and revolutions, they wear it out. Wear out those pins when they hit them like that, too.
Iro Hernandez.
Iro just can't seem to give the ball enough room. He's got to just open up a little bit, trust it. Give it a chance to roll back to the pocket instead of forcing it back. So he just gets over top of it and tugs it up to the pocket. And that one he was lucky to cross over and trip out the 6-pin. I mean, excuse me, the 4-pin.
Well, here is our friend, bowling cartoonist and author, Walt Steinsick. He's got a wonderful book out these days, A Funny Approach to Bowling. And we broke a record here at Seminole Lanes. You see, he drew that cartoon for us this morning. He said it was hard to find a place to park.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that one got off his hand before he wanted it to, and you see him wiping the perspiration off there in his pants. And that just had no chance. Again, I said this 100 times. Watch this now. Watch where the ball comes off. It's already leaving his thumb right there. And he just never got it out in front of him. And the sooner it comes off, the more it hooks. In other words, the sooner it hooks. And if it hooks too early, it's going to go through the middle of the head pin.
Roger Cossert, 4 regional PBA titles. He is from Cranberry Township near Pittsburgh.
Cranberry Township. That sounds pretty colorful. That's pretty neat. I like the sound of that. It kind of makes you think about the holidays.
We had 112 teams here, as we mentioned. Some of the other finishers, Don Carter's All-Star Lanes finishing 4th.
Don Carter.
18
He was here,
teams,
Jay.
yes, and 18 teams sharing in the prize fund. Prize fund nearly $40,000. And a little disappointment there for Paul Dalba. to 7.
Well, after that great beginning by Brunswick, they started with 4 in a row. Parker Bohn, their 5th player, anchorman, got up in the 5th frame, just ripped the rack and left a 7-pin, and that seemed to deflate the team. They haven't come close to striking since then. And in fact, they started struggling. They're going along now at about a 2:10 pace, and this is still anybody's match.
29 is the lead for the Brunswick team as Parker Bohn gets set.
Parker's second try here. He gets to finish the match. Excuse me, this opening game of this 2-game match. Lots of rotation. Not going to get it back. And there's the professionals washout, the reactive resin washout.
1, 3, 4, 6, 7.
Gives it a little too much room, and it gets out there, and there's an out of bounds on both sides, and that's where he got it and just never got it back. Once it gets to that area, it skids too far down the lane. It can't hook enough to get back to the pocket. There's 2 ways to make this, either on the left side in the pocket, or you can cross it like the washout. Tried to cross it and didn't quite get it over. That really makes it close.
A 193 game for the Brunswick team. And let's see what Orlando DeArmas can do.
Well, he can get it to 191, so we'd have a 2-pin match if he were to strike out.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, well, he made a great shot.
Yes, he did make a fine shot.
Very important to make this spare. Every pin counts, and of course the 10th frame, it's so much more important to finish with a mark, keep your team up mentally for the next game. Put his thumb in this one, going across lane for the spare, maybe just for the 10-pin. We watched him shoot other spares without his thumb in the ball. Made it look pretty easy.
He was disappointed, though, that he didn't get the strike. It's an interesting array of equipment that he wears there. It looks like is that a golf glove?
No, it's a bowling glove and then a wrist support over it.
Yeah, the wrist support is unusual in this situation.
Well, there's a lot of strange things going on. I've never seen anybody bowl without their thumb in it and have a wrist support on.
Yeah. 180 for Greg Sports Cards. 13-pin lead for Brunswick. Back for the final game in a moment. One time Brunswick had a 42-pin lead. It is now 13 as we start this final game of the championship match. And it's Chuck Atwood to lead it off for Greg Sports Cards. All right.
Boy, they're just like a little terrier, just nipping at their heels, just hanging in there and waiting for an opportunity. And if Brunswick doesn't get it going soon, they might find out that when it's all over, Greg Sports Cards is going to Louisiana.
Jeff Baholski, you mentioned Earl that he won the Super Hoinky Classic in Cincinnati in '95. And with that, he won $100,000.
Well, that's why he has to be able to handle money, like you said. What'd you say his occupation? Financial analyst? If you're going to make that kind of money, you got to be able to handle it pretty good.
And he strikes.
You can throw the ball like that, you're going to win a lot of money. There's no question. Especially in the amateur ranks today, there's so many major events around. The Super Hoinky, of course, we've mentioned, and some of these big tournaments that are being held around the country. And
but you tell me recently the amateurs are making more money than the pros.
That's right.
I tell you. Here's Mike Myers. Smooth and easy.
There you go.
Well, these two teams warming to the task in this final game. That cut the lead to 3.
All right, let's take a look at this young man, Robert Alexander. Now,
you know what he does for a living?
Well, I bet you he visits a chiropractor occasionally. Watch this.
He makes step ladders.
Yeah?
Yeah. And with shots like that, he's going to help his team climb high.
Okay.
All right.
Here's a look at the style of Robert Alexander. Now, this I don't think you should try to copy. You may get hurt. But look at this. This takes tremendous coordination and a lot of strength.
A strike for Jairo Hernandez, who's suddenly found his game.
What's going on here? These teams get out of the gate like this, and then all of a sudden they decide they got enough, and they just kind of back off.
$25,000 perfect game challenge offered by the
sponsors. They can hear you say that. That's what happens. See, you make them nervous today.
Mike Chantos.
Oh, boy.
Is right.
Well, that's about as good as you can get it in there, folks. There's no rhyme or reason for that to happen. Just bad luck. Now let's watch the ball speed on this one. Get it down there in a hurry. They don't hook in the air very often.
Team Brunswick's lead is 2.
Well,
Paul Dalba. Paul, a member of the Miami Bowling Association Hall of Fame.
good fundamentals here. Nice game. We're playing right in between that second and third row. Just gave it a little too much room. Had an opportunity to really do something there. If they could have got a couple more strikes, it could have really put the heat on Brunswick, but let that one get away. The 1-2-4, difficult spare for anybody. Want to get it on the left side of the head pin, let the ball do all the work, go right on down the line. Oh boy, you got a break there. He is not trying to play it there, I'll guarantee you. You can see the look on his face. Thank you very much. He hit the pocket solid right there. He was trying to cross that to the left side of the head pin, and it just stayed there. Watch how this guy holds the ball, Jay. When he starts it back, he uses a lot of strength, upper body strength here, shoulder strength, to carry the ball into the backswing. Doesn't really swing it, just kind of carries it back, controls it.
Wearing an elbow support. Cossard got them all.
Here's a look at it, and watch how he carries the ball back. You won't see him push it out and swing it in the normal style of play, but here you get the left hand carrying it back. The right hand just left the ball as it got past his hip, lifts it up, doesn't swing it up, lifts it up, and then goes on through.
5-pin lead for Brunswick. DeArmas, strike.
Well, the guys that have made it happen for Brunswick throughout the Baker system match play, all of today, Jay, were the 4, 5, and 6 players. By that I mean they were Robert Cossard and Parker Bohn III, and then they got it up to Jeff Paholski, and that was a 3-bagger for him. Those 3 guys right there, and here they're in position to do that right now.
All right, Parker says we did it. Okay.
Got a big break there. 3-pin forward.
That put them up by 15, and we'll return with more in a moment.
Plus shipping and handling. Don't miss your chance to see all your favorite skating superstars in this special collector's video. Call 1-800-547-3939. Call now.
Brunswick leads by 15. It's the final game. There's Paul Bowler, ABC director from the Miami area, one of the 35,000 volunteers that do such a great job checking the lanes, verifying scores, working with the membership.
Couldn't survive without them. You got to have those guys, Jay. Even Darryl Dobbs can't do it all by himself, right?
Oh, sir. Good job.
Ed Bauer could, but not Darryl.
Here is Chuck Atwood. We start the last go-round now. A little short.
Oh, boy. That's a disaster at this point.
It really is. He's got his hands full. 1, 2, 8, 10.
The washout. We've only had one other washout today that we've seen, Jay, and that one was covered that we thought perfectly, and it went up around the 10-pin. Now let's see if he can get it on the left side of the head pin and drive it into the 10. The ball should take out the 2 and the 8. He's taking his time here, trying to get lined up. He wants to be comfortable. Oh boy. Now see, that's very costly because of the pin count alone is going to hurt him a lot. They went from being in a 97 mode or a +7 type down to 1. So that's a 6-pin turnaround in the pin count.
And the lead now is 31. Here is Boholsky.
This guy can hurt you right here. Brunswick team looking pretty confident right now.
Strike here would give them a 41-pin lead.
Oh boy.
And the 10-pin is there.
What a great shot. Really threw it well, got it right where he wanted it. He was running it out, but it just doesn't go down for him. Here's another look at it. Good loft, good rotation. Boom. Tell me why that didn't fall, Jay.
Don't know.
Me either.
Yep.
Pretty good to me. Cross lane here at the 10-pin. He won't hook this one much. He just kind of go right at it. End over end.
Picks it up. Pins now. The advantage for Brunswick.
Well, Greg's Sports Cards had to feel like they got a little bit of a reprieve there, because if Jeff had carried that 10-pin for the strike, it would have increased their lead to over 40 pins, and they would have still been on a string of strikes. As it is, Greg's could get back into the match here with his 4 frames to play. That's how you do it. Just like
yes,
that.
sir. That was a big, big ball for Mike Myers and Greg Sports Cards.
Another look at it. Good heavy forward roll. 5-pin goes to the wall. See it coming across here, helping get that 7-pin out. And there's his reaction. Not overly reacting. His glasses didn't fog up or anything, but he's happy. All right.
Now it is Robert Alexander.
Oh, my. My. I think the pins fall down from fright when he throws it down there.
Can't get over how fast that ball gets down the lanes.
Oh, my.
This fella
Look at this.
has
High on the
power
head pin,
plus.
but got the job done. Kicked out the 4-7.
Jairo Hernandez, and he's got a problem.
Well, they really needed a strike from Jairo right there. I mean, it was key. That was his last chance to help the team, and it's the championship match. And he didn't give it enough room. He's had trouble all day long to keep the ball going high for him. This is a real tough spare. He's got to get the ball to fit between the 2 and the 4-pin so it can drive into the 8. Just like that. Great cover. They need strikes, not spares.
That's true. Mike Chantos.
Brunswick with a chance to really put this match away with a couple more strikes, and Mike's the kind of guy you want up there when you need one, because he can get it up there. Look at here. Oh boy, that was almost disaster. I thought he was going to get it back for a strike. He had the 2, the last pin down basically was a 10. Could have been the 2-10, and that would have just let Greg's right back into the match again. How quickly it turns around in the Baker system.
Sure does.
Oh boy. I'm glad I'm
tell
not
you, and
staying for
with
those
Alexander
pins.
and Chantos, they got 2 guys that can really move that ball down there. Aldalba.
Well, they know what they need. Greg's needs nothing but strikes, and they need some help from Brunswick. They can't get there without a little help from Brunswick. They've got to create some kind of pressure, and strikes are the only way.
All right, good job by Mr. Dalba.
Now we're down to the 2 lefties to see if they can perform. That's why they're there. Get the job done in the 9th and 10th frame. Robert needs to get a strike here, give Parker Bohn a chance in the 10th on a strike.
Roger Cossack.
Got to hurry.
Ooh, it didn't get there.
I've been calling him Robert all day. I thought his name was Robert.
It's Roger.
Oh, well, thank you, Jay. I apologize to Robert. Excuse me, Roger's family.
139.
Left-hander. Cross it over. Ball do all the work for you. Cross it over on the right-hand side here. Got to hurry.
Got it. Get a good look at the cover and how the ball goes through there and does all the work from the 3 and the 9.
Brunswick up by 27. Orlando DeArmas, their anchor man.
And he has to throw 2 strikes.
Or I should say, he is the anchor man for Greg Sports Cars.
One of them.
Yep. Brunswick leading. DeArmas comes back.
One more time. If they can get one more, Jay, Parker Bohn would need a mark in the 10th to win the match, the championship. And all the goodies. And there's Parker Bohn looking. He knows what's going on out there. He knows exactly what the score is in his mind. A professional bowler learns to keep score in his mind over the years. Sometimes it's harder to get a mark than it is to get a spare. I mean a strike, because you tend to be too careful.
Boy, oh boy, clutch performance here by Orlando DeArmas.
Well, he's put Parker Bohn in a position he's been in many times in the past. When you bowl for a living, as many years as Parker Bohn has, and he's been very successful. As I mentioned, 11-time PBA champion. He knows what he has to do and how to do it.
Orlando DeArmas with a superb finish for Greg Sports Cars.
Now, the difference here for Parker Bohn, as far as in his mind's eye, is he normally gets up in this situation needing only to perform for Parker Bohn. Now he needs to get up and make a shot for 4 other guys, and that's a lot more difficult.
2:21 game for Greg Sports Cards. 4:01 total.
Oh boy, got a break. That could have been the end of him right there.
And he knows it. Look.
Well, let me tell you something right here. Now, Parker Bohn hit the middle of the head pin, but if you can think back to where when he bowled on this lane in the 5th frame, he barely got the ball to the head pin, tripped 3-pin forward for his strike. He made a little adjustment there. He didn't want to get a washout. Tried to go more directly to the pocket and almost gave away the championship. There's your winners.
Yep. The victory here at Seminole Lanes. Well, he needs 5 pins to be truthful about it, right?
As long as he stays behind the foul line, I like his chances.
I do too, but
well, that's what could have happened right there in the first ball.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Parker looking up here at me. It wasn't easy.
Well,
4:04 to 4:01. Parker Bohn and Team Brunswick winning by 3 pins here at the Brunswick World Team Challenge. Here at Seminole Lanes, we have had a dandy, haven't we? And that's a happy bunch.
Well, I'm glad. Right now, Parker Bohn's glad it's over. I don't think he wants to get up there again in that same situation. As I mentioned, it's more difficult when you got other guys depending on you, and I think that affected his shot.
Well, before we get to our awards presentation, let's remind you that in early February, we'll be in Fort Worth. Late February, both the men's and women's divisions in Indianapolis. And the American Bowling Congress Brunswick World Team Challenge hotline to enter, 414-423-3387. The final score again as Brunswick comes through with the victory. It was a dandy match. We'll be back right after these messages. World Team Bowling Challenge is brought to you by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. By Lynn Shoes for the performance approach. It's American-made Lynn Shoes, the choice of top professionals and amateurs alike. By the ABC MasterCard. Get a grip on your finances with the ABC MasterCard. By Keepsake, designer and manufacturer of championship ring awards. By DBA Products, the industry leader in lane maintenance equipment. By Avis Rent-A-Car, the official car rental agency of the American Bowling Congress. And by the American Bowling Congress and Women's International Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies. There are our champions. Brunswick comes through with the victory, and what a match it was. Really special. It's a great privilege to introduce the executive director of the American Bowling Congress, Darryl Dobbs. Darryl, before you pass out the goodies here, congratulations to the ABC, and a lot of things have been happening. You've been down here with some meetings.
Yeah, we've been down here with all the people in the sport, WIBC and the proprietors, trying to reorganize and harness the resources and move our game forward, and I think it's going along pretty good.
Well, there's some wonderful challenges out there for you, and of course, this World Team Challenge certainly continues to grow, and the Baker system makes it such a popular event.
It's a fun deal, and we really enjoy watching them. I'm glad I had the opportunity to come down and watch, and congratulations to these guys, of course. It was very exciting.
We'll let you hand out the plaque.
Parker, on behalf of all of us at ABC, congratulations. Nice job, good bowling.
Thank you, Darryl. Thank you, ABC. Lynn Shoes, Brunswick, you're the #1 game in bowling. If you weren't here, I don't know that our team would be here.
That's probably right. Here is Kevin Krause, of course, who does such a great job as the vice president of the Strike and Spare organization here in this area, and wonderful being with you and your people again this year.
Thank you, Jay. On behalf of Seminole Lanes and the St. Pete Clearwater area, we would like to add our congratulations and wish you guys a lot of luck in Louisiana. Thanks for the great field this week, and we had a wonderful time. Parker, thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin. I'd also like to thank Seminole Lanes. You've been really great all week, all you fans out there. It's really wonderful. The only question, Kevin, I think you should probably give 4 rings here, because I'm still waiting to throw a good shot. These guys did all the good bowling.
Let me introduce Mr. Mike Cullum, Cullum Bowling Supplies, with the Lynn's jacket.
Well, congratulations, Parker. I just want to let you know I was there when you predicted your win, but you didn't predict the blowout. So, congratulations from Lynn's Shoes.
Oh, great.
Thank you very much.
Parker, sometimes it's never easy. It was right to the wire in this one.
I'll tell you what, these guys, they each threw 4 balls and threw a really good shot, obviously hit the pocket almost every time, and I had to make up for our team. I threw every bad possible conceivable shot that there was known to man.
Down at the end, Mr. Earl Anthony with a couple of questions for you.
I do have a couple, Jay, and I'm going to start with Robert first here. Because,
our whirling dervish.
Fascinated, right? Robert, is somebody your idol bowler or some kind that you copied his style, or how'd you learn to bowl the way you bowl?
Never really learned off too many bowlers. My dad helped me a lot when I was younger. My backswing just got high, and I could never get it down, so I just adopted to use it. Seems to work all right for me, so I'm just going to stay that way.
Well, you look a little bit like Pete Weber. That's the reason I wondered. And do you ever have to visit a chiropractor at any time? Or?
Never.
All right. And, of course, Roger, the captain. Roger, tell us a little bit about how you put the lineup together, especially your 4, 5, and 6 players.
Well, we more or less tried to keep the more experienced people together, 2 lefties, and then Jeffrey, who can be pretty straight and make the good shots.
Okay, Jeffrey being your leadoff player, he could line you up going pair to pair. And then, of course, the 3 of you could bowl in order and get
Correct.
your 3 in a row. And these guys just kind of went along for the ride.
Yeah, they're the young guys. We wind them up and let them go.
Well, Paholski, of course, he won all that money at the Hoinky. He's on Easy Street these days. And these 2 guys over here, you know, I've been working with Earl a long time. I don't think I've ever seen 2 guys get the ball down the lane any faster than they do. It looks like it's coming out of a cannon.
We're in Florida this week. They thought they were trying to release some missiles.
Oh, okay. Well, our congratulations to the Brunswick team, winners here at Seminole Lanes, and good luck to you at the Grand Championship in Louisiana in August. The next World Team Challenge telecast is a women's division event from Showboat Lanes in Las Vegas, Nevada. Check your local listings for dates and times. For Earl Anthony, this is Jay Randolph. So long from Seminole Lanes in Seminole, Florida. This has been an ABC Eagle Productions telecast.